Hello everyone. Today, I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite games of all time, Super Mario Odyssey. This game has a very unique mechanic that allows you to possess your enemies and use their abilities to collect power moons. Although that idea might sound strange, it's still a pretty revolutionary concept that no other game has ever replicated. So that's why today, I'll be ranking the top 10 Super Mario Odyssey captures. This list is based on how fun the captures are to use, as well as how useful they are for getting moons. And before we begin, make sure to hit that subscribe button so hard you break your device. Okay, don't actually do that. But anyways, let's get to the countdown. Number 10. Goomba. No, I'm not kidding. Goomba actually made this list. Now you might be wondering, what can a measly Goomba do? Well, quite a lot actually. For starters, Goombas don't slip on ice, which makes certain levels immensely easier. Goombas can also be stacked on top of each other. I don't know why, but it's extremely fun just walking around as a stack of Goombas. Sometimes these stacks are required to get to certain places, or to nab moons. For example, you can use Goomba stacks to fall in love with Goomba. Young love. Psych! One nice thing about the Goombas is that you can take them almost anywhere. All you really need is the ability to run and jump to get to most places. I guess I should have called this game Super Goomba Odyssey. Okay, but actually a Goomba-themed video game would be awesome. Can we have one, Nintendo? Pretty please? Number 9. Lava Bubble. You know, I'm honestly surprised that Nintendo hasn't come up with a more clever name for these guys. Like, Lava Bubble isn't a name, that's what they are. That'd be like if we called Bowser Turtle. Anyways, Lava Bubbles are definitely one of the more memorable captures in Mario Odyssey. You'll primarily find them in the Luncheon Kingdom, where you'll use them to traverse most of the level. There isn't much they can do besides jump and swim, but there's a lot of really creative ways these guys are used. There's some sub-areas that make great use of their abilities and are a ton of fun. It's also really cool launching yourself out of cannons to go super high in the air. I tell ya, it doesn't get better than this. Well, actually it does, so let's move on. Number 8. Gushen. This is basically the lava bubble, but now you're in water. However, Gushen has lots of different abilities that make him more fun to play as. For starters, you can shoot water out your ass to either gain height or go really fast. This makes controlling Gushen a blast as he can easily zip through the air like some sort of bird. Unfortunately, you are limited to how long you can spray water, so you have to keep refilling in order to use them properly. This does suck, but I guess with a capture as broken as this, there has to be some limitations. Like the fact that you're limited to how high off the ground you can go. Come on, I wanted to completely break my game! I guess to make up for it, you can shake the controller to spray out water in all directions. This can be pretty useful for when you have to destroy lots of enemies. You know, the more I think about it, Gushens are basically the flood pack from Super Mario Sunshine. I mean, you can hover and spray enemies and skate across water. Maybe this game is just Super Mario Sunshine 2 in disguise. I knew it! Number 7. Sivirian Racer. Leave it to Nintendo to come up with the craziest character designs. This bouncy bundle of fur is used in the Snow Kingdom's Bound Bull Grand Prix. In other words, you'll race other Sivirians by bouncing up and down along a racetrack. By timing your bounces, you gain a little extra speed, which gives you incentive to play well. The bouncing physics do feel a little awkward, but it's more than manageable. It's really fun bouncing high and then cutting corners and making shortcuts to win the race. Now, with all that being said, the Sivirian is a bit limited in what he can do. You can only use him during the race, and even then he doesn't have too many unique abilities. His only attribute is bouncing, making him feel like a one-time thing. If there was more depth to this capture, then it would definitely be higher on this list, but either way, he's still pretty fun to use. Number 6. Sherm. So far on this list we've covered some classic Mario characters, and a few new ones. But a tank? What? I mean, it's not the first time we've seen weapons in a Mario game, but the fact that you can become a literal tank is just insane. They actually had to give this game an everyone 10 and up rating because of it. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this is a really cool concept. It just surprises me that Nintendo went along with it. So Sherms have one main function, shooting. When you're in control of a sherm, you feel like a menace because you can aim really fast and fire in all directions. There's a few decent puzzles here and there that require sherms, so they're definitely useful. My only gripe with them is that they move pretty slow. Like, I know that tanks move slow in real life, but it would have been nice if we could move a bit faster. So overall, this isn't a capture that you'll use for long, but still a really good time. Number 5. Banzai Bill. One of the first captures you'll run into in this game is the Bullet Bill, and they're pretty cool. But you won't ever want to go back to them once you've experienced the Banzai Bill. Capturing it basically turns you into a giant bullet bill, and you can fly around in all directions, destroying all that's in your path. It feels so epic destroying everything that you see. You feel so strong, so powerful. Wahahaha! I'm unstoppable! Sorry about that. Now, while this capture is incredibly fun to use, it does have two major flaws. First, the Banzai Bill only appears in 2 areas in the entire game, so you'll barely ever get to use them. And second, there's a limit on how long you can use this capture. I don't understand why we can't fly around for as long as we want, because this is really cool. But alas, Nintendo always has to take our fun away. Number 4. Glideon. What the hell? So this is kind of like a lizard with glasses that can fly? I don't know, this game's really wacky. Glideon can be found in most of the bigger kingdoms, usually in a high place. Capturing him will allow you to glide all around anywhere you want. You can control his direction and the speed at which he falls, which is nice, but that leads to his one major flaw. Glideon can only glide, not fly. So once you hit the ground, he's basically useless. It would have been nice if you could jump high into the air so that you could use him more efficiently, but I'm just being nitpicky. It's actually really fun gliding around and seeing how far you can go. There's actually a lot of moons that require Glideon, and they're all a blast. Although I do wish that there was more to this character, it's still one of the most memorable parts of the game. Number 3. TRex. This big fella is quite different from the dinosaurs we're used to seeing in Mario games, and this guy isn't messing around, as he's all about taking care of business. He can smash through walls, enemies, and everything else in your path. He can also do a charging attack for extra damage. He shares a lot of the same abilities as the Banzai Bill, but that also means he shares the same weaknesses. For one, he doesn't appear too often in the game, so enjoy him while you can. You're also restricted by a time limit, which sucks. Come on, Cappy, what do you mean you can't hold on anymore? That doesn't even make any sense! I've decided to put him above the Banzai Bill because you do have more movement options with the T-Rex, but other than that, these two are pretty much identical, and could be swapped around based on preference. Number 2.
Yoshi!
You said it, my friend. We're swapping out one dinosaur for another, and this time, it's a familiar face. After beating the main story, you'll unlock the Mushroom Kingdom, where you can explore Peach's castle. Of course, it wouldn't be complete if Yoshi wasn't on top waiting for you. Out of all the captures I've mentioned before, Yoshi is by far the most useful, and for a number of reasons. First, you've got your basic Yoshi traits like the classic flutter jump and being able to eat enemies, but you can also use your tongue to cling onto walls to get extra height. And if that wasn't enough, you can even lick the ground and launch yourself in order to get a crazy burst of speed. With all these new tricks, Yoshi is a joy to play as, and makes for a good reward for completing the game. Plus, he's required for lots of moons, so you'll definitely be using him time and time again. I just wish that Yoshi was available to use in all the kingdoms. He's just so fun to play as, but you can only use him here. Oh well, at least Yoshi's in this game at all, because he makes your playthrough even more amazing. Number 1. King Koopa himself, Bowser. I can't tell you how long I've wanted a game where Bowser is the main character. There was Bowser's Inside Story, which is amazing, but that doesn't really count. Luckily, Mario Odyssey threw us a curveball and let us play as Bowser. He's only playable in 2 parts of the game though, at the end of the main story and at the end of the darker side, and since both of these areas are linear, you feel like you don't get the full experience. I would love it if you could run around anywhere you want as Bowser, but sadly that isn't the case. But looking up, Bowser is extremely fun to play as. His 2 main abilities are Claw Swipe and Breathing Fire. You'll use them to destroy the rubble in the areas I mentioned before, and it's a really good time. It feels so much more satisfying than just ramming into things with the T-Rex, because this is more skill-oriented. With the T-Rex, you just walk forward and win, but Bowser has to time his attacks, and it just feels much more fluid. Even the 8-bit section is a blast. You can tell the developers had a really fun time putting this together. So overall, Bowser's a pretty cool capture, and by far the most fun one to play as. A lot of the captures in this game are super fun, and were a great way to spice up the traditional Mario formula. So tell me down below what your favorite Super Mario Odyssey captures are. I'll be sure to respond to as many of you as I can. And before I go, I have one question for you. Do you like video game fan art? Well, if so, then I have this wonderful video where I talk about what it's like to make fan art of all your favorite video game characters. You should definitely give it a watch, and be sure to subscribe if you aren't already. Now that's all for today, so I'll see you all again next week. Goodbye.